environmentalists, they're saying, hey, the cars are really bad for the trees.
Yes.
So they flip the whole argument around and say, hey, the trail is bad for the trees. So let's leave leave everything the way it is.
It really is as simple as that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want to be woke at me about the environment?
Right.
Well, no, it's your bikes that kill the trees.
Yeah.
We're rolling. We're rolling.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.
Hello, Wedge Live podcast listeners. This is John Edwards speaking on behalf of our newest sponsor, Eric's Stolen 2006 Chevy Suburban. Eric's Stolen Chevy Suburban. It's blue, but sometimes when the light hits it just right, it looks a little green. Plus, there's rust by the gas cap and a sticker on the back that says "Mountains, please." Eric's Stolen Chevy Suburban answers to the name Rita. Eric has used Rita to carry dirt and soil for friends and neighbors. He has transported campaign volunteers to door knock shifts across the 7-county metro, and he's helped move many a couch. This vehicle is a true community asset, and Eric wants Rita back. If you see Eric's Suburban, you can call the police. If you're not comfortable calling the police, you can email your tips to ericsstolenchevysuburban@wedgelive.com. That email address again is ericsstolenchevysuburban@wedgelive.com. Thank you for supporting our sponsors.
We are back in St. Paul on the Wedge Live podcast here on Summit Avenue. And I'm joined by Chris Smith from Sustain St. Paul, who has graciously agreed to show me around Summit Avenue. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
So give me a brief glimpse of what we're going to see, because Summit Avenue is set to be reconstructed at some point in the future. There's kind of a controversy over trees and neighbors who don't want to see the bike lane put in or don't want to see the street reconstructed at all. So what are we going to see today?
Well, you're going to definitely see a street that needs to be repaired. It's really crumbling, and at this point the city is realizing that they can't put off the reconstruction of the street any longer. It's been over 100 years now since they've done any kind of real infrastructure work. They need to replace the water main, the sewer, electrical, plumbing, all that leading up to the houses. And on top of that, hey, let's throw a bike lane in there.
It has occurred to me, because you made me ride Summit to get to you, that there's plenty of space for everything that's going to be included. We have a traffic lane for cars, we have a parking lane, and we have a bike lane, and so it's a matter of reorganizing that. I can't understand how it threatens any trees at all, the bike lane.
Yeah, you'll see that where the cars are parked right now on the street, that's where the bike trail is going to go in, and then where the bike trail is, that is where the cars are going to be parked in the future. So in a way, it'll slow down traffic as well. You'll notice how fast the cars are moving because there's so much space. But when there's cars parked along the street, they're going to be more concerned about, hey, I don't want to hit this car that's parked along the street. But right now, the way it is, they got so much space because of the painted bike lane, and then you have cars that are parked, so they're far away from cars that are driving down the street. So people tend to drive faster just because there's more space there, and that would automatically slow down the cars. So, it's not like, let's take out part of the boulevard to put in the bike trail. I would like to see actually the sidewalks to be widened, just because you'll probably notice also that people have to walk around each other if they're, walking on the sidewalk. So make it just more walkable, bike friendly all around.
You ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Here we are on Summit Avenue. Are they going to widen the sidewalks?
I believe there is going to be some work on the sidewalks. I'm not sure if it's going to be much wider, but they certainly have the space to do it. I mean, there really is a lot of space in this area. I mean, especially now because I'm used to seeing a lot of cars parked on the street, and when there's no cars parked on the street, you can actually see how much space is really here.
Is this secretly about parking? Because often it is. People will pit bikes against trees when the real concern is I'm going to lose X amount of parking spaces. Is that the case here?
Okay, so this, my view is really kind of like this is more of a culture war from the standpoint that when someone says, okay, I want to protect all the trees, and if you look at their front lawn and they got like 1, maybe 2 trees, is it really about the trees? And at this point, I think, for the last, 2, almost 3 years now, there's been people explaining how this could benefit people, this reconstruction could benefit people in this neighborhood. And the reason why I bring up a culture war, because I feel like, well, this might be somebody thinking that, well, I'd be willing to deal with the issues that come up, say if the sewer were to back up, then have somebody happy about a bike trail.
I've said the same thing for years. I've used the culture war phrase because I think a lot of it is the people who bike are not my kind of people.
Yeah, we're those people.
And they should lose. They should lose here. It's not really that there's a win in it for me by stopping the street reconstruction. I just think the bike people, they really want this. I want them to lose because they're younger and they think differently on a lot of issues than me. And this is for them and they shouldn't get it.
Yeah. And for me, I just, about 2 years ago, I got rid of my car. So I'm car free now.
Why did you do that? What prompted that?
So I live in Lower Town, downtown Saint Paul. And I was just leasing cars, and just having a car in downtown St. Paul is expensive. And so I just started thinking more about taking public transit and also just biking around. And so of course now I'm really focused on it's my own self-interest, but focusing on bike infrastructure. But everyone benefits, and I'll just say with Summit, it's really about the location of Summit that is the reason why I think this is such an important project. It's a east-west route that really, it's the length of the city, and you could easily connect north and south routes to Summit. So, because the way it is right now, it's a kind of a roundabout way to get anywhere. So I work along Raymond and University, but I take the Como Trail most of the way over there. So I'm adding about 2.5 miles to my commute to bike.
Right.
It's a more direct route anywhere, and Summit's the perfect street for that. When
did you get political about transportation? Was it when you went car free, or have you always been that way?
So I was always kind of a political person. I'm an organizer.
Yeah.
I'd say living in downtown St. Paul, driver's mentality is really different. So like when the way they drive is different than they would say in a residential neighborhood. And unfortunately, the times that I tried to bike just around downtown, it just seemed really dangerous, and I could see why people don't bike in downtown. But there was an instance where I was on Wakuta Street. It's basically when you get off of I-94, or no, 494, take the 6th Street exit. So cars are moving pretty fast off of the highway. And I was getting up to 5th and Wakuta, and the light turned yellow, so I slowed down and stopped. Well, this SUV behind me, they just laid on their horn. And I turned around and the guy's just yelling and screaming at me. And I just thought, first off, you shouldn't even be driving that fast. And second, you know, this is where I live. You know, this is my neighborhood. You're like treating, I mean, he obviously didn't know that, but it's just one of those things where it's like, why should I have to put up with that? Especially since I'm just choosing to bike around downtown. That's when I started getting involved, but also definitely with Sustain Saint Paul, get involved with the work they're doing, and eventually became a board member.
Well, I appreciate the work you do with Sustain Saint Paul. And so I look at the trees, I love the trees here. I love the look of Summit Avenue aside from having to ride it
Yeah.
like this. But do you get offended when people are like, you want to take down all these trees for your silly little bike lane? As if you don't want the trees.
Right.
As if anyone wants these trees to come down. And I don't see any reason why they would need to put in a bike lane. How do you feel about the bikes versus trees debate?
Well, I mean, the other thing about that is, I mean, this looks nice, but you'll notice, I mean, if you really pay attention to the trees in the center, you know, on the boulevard here, there's a lot of trees that have been cut down. And I just keep thinking, like, having cars, you know, especially at high speeds, driving through here so it's loud, and then it's not good for the trees. I mean, using the argument of we're going to keep the street the way it is to save the trees. No, that's and that brings me back to the culture war thing, because it's like in culture wars, the opposition will always try to steal steal the argument that their opposition is doing or saying. So, you know, you have urbanists and, you know, people that, environmentalists, they're saying, hey, the cars are really bad for the trees.
Yes.
So they flip the whole argument around and say, hey, the trail is bad for the trees. So let's leave leave everything the way it is.
It really is as simple as that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want to be woke at me about the environment?
Right.
Well, no, it's your bikes that kill the trees.
Yeah. I think of that commercial where, I haven't seen it lately, but it's about septic tanks. And they're like, are you aware of the ticking time bomb beneath your house, you know?
Uh-huh.
And it's, you know, if you don't maintain the septic system for your house, I mean, you're gonna have serious problems, and it's expensive. And so when I think the real issue here is you have essentially a ticking time bomb beneath the street, because you have over 100-year-old sewer system. I don't know if the water main has been replaced at any point, but you know, if you don't do anything about it soon, you know, you could have some serious issues. All these homeowners could be dealing with sewer backup in their basements, which I think, you know, which is kind of that whole argument of which check do you want to write? Do you want to write the check to hire the restoration company to clean out your basement,
Right.
which could amount to hundreds of thousands of dollars, or do you want to write the check that pays your property taxes, which also replaced the street and the sewer system and water main and everything.
Yeah. Because again,
Yeah.
it's the digging up of the street to replace the pipes and infrastructure underground that
Yeah.
is the threat to the trees. The thing that absolutely must be done
Right.
is what potentially threatens the trees, not the way you rearrange the top of the street to make it safer to bike and walk around the neighborhood.
Right.
It's very simple, and I was frustrated when the 2040 plan got held up in court for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. But like the fact that like very wealthy people can get a lawyer and tie this up in court for an extended period when it's baseless,
Right.
that would be very frustrating to me if I lived here and could potentially benefit from a better Summit Avenue. I could benefit from this because I'm here now riding on it.
Yeah. But I think, the city, because there was a report about this meeting at the church with SOS. They're talking about, well, who thinks it's time to replace, Mayor Carter? And I just keep thinking like, well, Mayor Carter acknowledged that previous administrations haven't done anything about this, and just the acknowledgement of like, okay, we need to replace this street and update the infrastructure beneath the street is a good thing. And I think overall, again, you point out that somebody is spending money to sue the city to slow everything down, but I don't know, like if I lived in this neighborhood and found out, especially if the sewer backed up, I would definitely be angry at that neighbor for slowing this process down too. So
are you worried that if this lawsuit happens, I don't know, it could have a chilling effect. It's like, don't mess with those people. Like, it could give them what they want on future things. Like, don't do any special projects in these neighborhoods.
right.
Because they will sue, and that will be painful and expensive and politically fraught. I think about that a lot. Like, don't do anything bold, government, because a small group of very wealthy people will take you to court and make your life hard.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that threat's everywhere all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, I've just over the last, few years, I've learned how to get around the city on my bike.
Oh!
I learned how to get around the city on my bike. But the thing that really angers me actually is that there's a lot of people that would be willing to try commuting to work on their bike.
Yeah.
And then, some families, I have a colleague at work who, they have two cars or a 2-car household, and they got an e-bike because they thought, okay, well, eventually we can get rid of one of our cars.
Yeah.
With a growing family. Yeah. I mean, that's, every nickel counts, And so I think taking that option away from families and just people in general that just want to try to save money or maybe they are concerned about the environment. For me, it was more like a financial decision to get rid of my car, because I realized I was paying about $21 a day to have my car.
Oh, you did the math.
Yeah, I did the
So
math.
gas and insurance and the lease payment.
Storage, maintenance, everything. And I'm like, whether I like it or not, I'm paying $21 a day.
$600 a month.
Yeah, so it was worth trying. I mean, I'm kind of like, well, I might as well see what it's like. I mean, it's really easy actually to buy a car because every car dealership has every possible financial option. So it's kind of like, well, because I always hear this kind of fear, like, what if it's really hard? You realize you get rid of the car and then it's it's hard to get around. And
Right.
well, it's not that hard to get a car either. you know.
Are you less generous to the, what is it, Save Our Streets people, the people with the yard signs, the people who are going to do the lawsuit potentially? Then I talked to Melissa Wenzel, who is also with Sustain Saint Paul.
Yep.
And people can listen to that episode.
Yeah.
But she's very trying to be understanding and say, as if this is an education problem, like they just don't know the truth. We have to make them, or help them see the truth, that the trees will be fine. It's not the bikes, it is the digging up of the street. Are you less generous, or do you have an angry edge to you about this? Because I have an angry edge.
So my position is more like they know exactly, like they know how it can benefit them. And I get back to the culture where like they want to make sure those people aren't happily riding their bike on the trail. There are people that are like, they'll hear the argument and go, oh yeah, I love the Trees on Summit. And then they'll want to support this cause. But I'd say for the most part, a lot of people know that this could benefit the neighborhood. And why not? I just keep thinking if maybe I shouldn't think that way. Maybe that's why I'm so angry. But if I lived in a home along this street here and knowing that the infrastructure beneath the street is so old that it could fail any time, I would want that to be replaced.
Yeah.
And if they say, the city says, oh, but we're going to put a bike trail on it too, I'd be like, go ahead, do whatever you do what you have to, because I don't want the sewers to fail. I think about St. Louis Park, which is kind of funny because this was happening around the same time everyone is arguing over the bike trail, Summit Avenue bike trail. But a water main broke and got into the sewer system, flooded over 50 houses, like their basements, and the city basically didn't have any way to really compensate people for the damages.
I often think there was heavy opposition to like Bryan Avenue, Hennepin Avenue, and I think, does anyone feel that way now that Bryan Avenue is down and so much better than the way it was before? Like, do you see the light? And maybe they should take a trip, the people on Summit should take a trip over to Como Avenue to see what that's like and ask themselves if they are maybe overreacting.
Yeah, that was when every time, like I mentioned, when I commute to work, I take Como, and it's actually, it's a nice ride because you're not dealing with traffic hardly ever, but you're on the street at some points, but it's the safest route, and I bike during the winter time too, so it's also a real safe route during that time of the year because they keep the trails cleared. Well, it's about 5.5 miles from here.
Do we want to do that?
I'm okay not doing it, but
I'm also okay not doing
okay.
that. Well, hey, how's it going? I'm getting recognized in St. Paul.
Wow.
Well, we had a whole second half of this segment planned, but it's so hot.
Yeah.
Summit Avenue was so brutal that I think we're going to call it quits. Maybe can we bike this trail a little bit?
Yeah. Let's take a safe. We risked our lives long enough.
Yeah. Oh yes. Well, we finished up on Summit Avenue, and now we're on the Mississippi River Trail here.
Yeah, the Mississippi Boulevard. So this is what I was thinking about, how Summit connects to this trail. That makes it you can connect to Minneapolis. So there's so much potential with it.
What's the prognosis here? Are we just waiting for them to sue? Is this like is the potential to reconstruct the street coming up in the next few years? Is it a long-term prospect?
So I was trying to find out like the funding, like who's going to ultimately pay for this. And I keep hearing how there's going to be some federal dollars, state dollars, city dollars, which gets me back to, hey, everybody should have a say in this, versus just the people in the neighborhood.
Yes.
So, and I'm sure the neighbors wouldn't like it if the city just did an assessment saying, well, since you guys, you know, the only ones that use this street, you'll pay for everything, you know,
Right.
which would never happen. But, you know, how much of it are they going to be willing to pay?
Chris Smith of Sustain St. Paul, thank you for biking with me
Yeah,
on
thanks
Summit
for having
Avenue. It was nice to meet you.
me. Nice to meet you.
Nice to hear a little bit of your story.
I mean, I've been living in downtown St. Paul for going on 12 years now. When I moved there, I thought, well, if I don't like it, I can just move because I rent. And 12 years later, still here.
That's about how long I've been in the Wedge,
Oh, cool.
and I'm still there. Yeah. Well, this is the Wedge Live podcast. I'm your host, John Edwards. Thank you to Chris Smith. Thank you for listening.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.